Orient Volume 5 Review. In Volume 5 of Orient, our heroes find themselves in a dire situation. Under attack from a samurai slaying katana hunter, Shiro Inokai, Gojiro Sugumi can do anything but run with the rest of the gathered samurai, who risk not only losing the remains of the blue demon god, but their lives as well. However, realizing that racing down the mountain will put the defenseless people in the town below in danger, Kojiro decided to make a stand. Although Shiro is far too powerful and defeats him easily. Thankfully, Musashi turns up just in the nick of time and saves his friends facing off against Shiro and his literary companion Nanao. Can Musashi unlock the power of the obsidian goddess sleeping within, or will they fall under Shiro's immense power? Well, we are operating on the same scale as a demon god that we saw in the first volume here. Volume 5 is like the series has finally arrived, and what you have been waiting for. Filled with high-stakes action that sees our heroes push their limits. As I mentioned in my review of Volume 4, Shiro is an absolute monster, and the skill and power of his abilities demonstrated here just continue to drill that in as he smashes his giant sword around and literally flips the world upside down. We've been learning in this arc that demon metal blades allow the wielder to use magical superpowers and attacks, with Shiro simply being to manipulate earth, space, and gravity. The combination gives him a lot of flexibility in combat, making him even more terrifying when you know he just pull the ground out from underneath you. He still tends to rely on blunt force strong, which makes a Nana a good companion, thanks to his skilled swordplay with your unique demon metal blade, a deadly-looking 7-section staff, but it was alluded to in the previous volume. Each demon metal blade houses a spirit that gives the blade its power, which explains the magical pop properties. It's what allows Nano's staff to become a deadly weapon with 7 energy blades. It's just a small detail, but it is important to note how these weapons work, as the spirits themselves do have a part to play in the overall story, which is nice that they are not just a quick or complex explanation for the blade powers. Overall, though, I just think the weapons look really cool. The different power gives you a special emphasis to latch onto, similar to the visual effects for the sword moves in Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Now herself is still the weaker of a pair of villains, as well she looks quite threatening at the first. Our heroes start opening holes in their offensive with some great teamwork and strategy. Where earlier volumes thought they had them act separately, it's nice to see the trio really work as a team. We're here as they all fit into specific roles. But this volume is really Musashi's big hooray. Gojiro puts up a good fight and Sugumi pulls up a good assist too. Even though she's very much the comic relief character here, something she pulls off well with some excellent quips and great faces. But there's still more the series could do with them in terms of character building. I certainly feel more at home in them now, 5 volumes in, and they're not the bland faces they were when they were first introduced, certainly in Musashi's case. This arc, after all, has been about putting him forward as a protagonist, and in this volume, he kinda gets to shine. I say kinda as in mostly the obsidian goddess's powers to save the day, but it's Musashi's beliefs in his friends, that finally unlocks her power. The goddess herself is actually really cool and not less haughty than she seems in the previous volume. That said, it does feel like a bit too quick of a personality switch, which might be down to Otaka not having done all the finer details of her character, and even then, I can only offer praise for the detailed mythology and world building that Otaka masterfully weaves and amidst the action set pieces. As the series are peeled back, everything about the goddess says, and where she fits and the story starts to make a lot of sense, but it's careful enough not to reveal everything, as it knows it must keep certain things close to its chest to keep the story going. There seems to be some stuff going on around Kojiro's father, which is more deeply tied to our character's fate and first which is interesting, but Shiro and Nanao seems like they'll be popping out later as recurring villains too. As such, I feel pretty good about its current direction and it brings this arc to a close. There's still plenty to left to discover, which it finally feels like we're the kickoff point for the real journey. It's just a shame that it's taking 5 volumes to get there, with the elaborate pacing of the earlier part of the story. Now knowing where it goes, I'm looking forward to see how the anime adaptation tackles it. And there's some stuff in here that will look really cool if they can fix up the pacing. Orient continues to be published by Kodansha in its digital first format, with its print releases slowly catching up with the digital release. Translated duties for this point has been handled by both Nick Dare and Kevin Gifford, and it reads perfectly well with no issues to speak of. In terms of art, this volume is consistent with the rest of the series and still struggles on conveying everything that is going on within the confines of a busy panel. Yet, I think in some cases where the action is pretty chaotic anyway, it kinda works. Again, I expect this is something that the anime adaptation can write out. I know this is a series that I always felt that it was designed with the anime in mind. Overall, the fifth volume of Orient is highly entertaining with plenty of high-stakes action, offering a satisfying conclusion to the current arc of the story. It ends clearly and wraps up the current ongoing plot dreads, but also gives you enough glimpse into the future to make you want to read on and see where your heroes end up next. 8 over 10.